We got Dallas Dupree Young joining me here for Sports and Hip Hop with DJ Mad Max, Live 365, iHeartRadio. We know him as Kenny and Cobra Kai, The Fosters, Cousin for Life, Ready Player One. Oh, he's been in a lot. Shameless, and he's got a lot on the way for sure. He's also an athlete. He's going to college now. A lot on the
Yes,
way.
sir.
Welcome to the show, man. How's everything going?
Hey, I really can't complain. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Of course, anytime. So, how do you reflect now that Cobra Kai has ended season six? It's unfortunate because I think as they could have renewed, they should have renewed for season seven because there's such a huge fan base. There's more story to tell, I think, in my personal opinion. But what are your thoughts now that it's over?
It's insane that it's over. It's been such an incredible ride from the moment that we got on set back in season 4 when I arrived when I was 14 years old to now being 18 years old, done with the show. It's a surreal feeling, but I'm glad that we had the ability to finish the show right in the spot where it needed to. Everybody had different things going on in their lives, and it was to finish up the series and kind of get everybody, tie in everybody's storylines and really finish it. And it was such a beautiful piece at the end of the show.
It was, and you were one of the ones to really kick the nail in here because you won that big fight at the end.
Yeah, I'm so glad that I won that fight. Man,
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. Kenny had to redeem himself after, he had that incident in the park where everybody was watching him. He felt left out. Nobody was really on his side. He had to come back for Miyagi-Do and show up for everybody at the end of the day.
You gotta love the middle finger. That was great.
I love that part. I love seeing that. That was so much fun.
In the locker room scene. So, what was kind of the real emotions going on? Because you all had in your mind that the series was going to be over now. So it had to feel like this is a sense of realism in this scene.
Yeah, the locker room scene hit different for everybody. I
Hmm.
remember even I know Mary had to be like one of the first people to cry in that moment while she was saying her line, but she started crying in rehearsal. She couldn't even really finish the line right there, and we all looked at each other like, "Dang, it's really starting to hit a little bit different." Because also, we didn't have too many moments throughout the entirety of the series where we were all kind of together, where we felt that where the audience got to feel in that moment in the locker room scene, we're all having this last kind of hoorah, and we're just looking at each other like, dang, this is it. So we're gonna go out how we should, and everybody brought the energy, everybody brought the intensity of the scene because at the end of the day, we are thinking about we got to go beat Cobra Kai. And tying back to the end of the beginning of the show, that's what the premise was all about, and we finished it off just like that too.
You did. And it's crazy because starting out too, you were there with Terry Silver, and then you end up with Macchio, and it's crazy with Daniel being there and how you switched throughout the show because you were viewed as a villain at one point, and then you
Mhm.
come to the good side, and that was a big transition for the character.
It definitely was a big transition, but I think that was the gift of Kenny. He got to learn from so many different senseis and different kind of styles of martial arts. So he kind of had the best of both worlds at the end of the day. And then the best part about it too was that he got to learn from some of the best senseis in the game. I had the opportunity to work with Thomas Ian Griffith, also work with Billy Zapka, also work with Ralph Macchio and Martin Cove. So getting the opportunity to learn from all of them and really just have conversations about not just the show, but about the industry and life in general was an absolute blessing for me.
Yeah, around a lot of legends for sure, and we got a legend in the making here tonight joining me. So yeah, it's interesting. So when was kind of like your earliest recollection of like the first Karate Kid? Because you were someone that watched that when you were younger. So do you remember when you first saw that?
Yeah. So I first watched it whenever I was about 7 years old, but I did not pay too much attention to it because I was a kid. But I watched it, just was doing martial arts and I was in Orange Belt, if I'm not mistaken. And that was one of our assignments to watch the Karate Kid and kind of observe their techniques. So that was my first recollection. But then I think I watched it again. The nostalgia of that movie kind of just brings me back to whenever I first watched it and that feeling of being with your parents. And they're like, yeah, I remember this. Nobody like Ralph Macchio. Because that was back in their time when the movie came out. So it's a surreal feeling that I got to be a part of the franchise.
It is. And I think too, when we look at the Quan character when he dies with that match, it kind of reminded me a lot of Apollo Creed in Rocky 4 when he was killed because it shows you the dangers that you can die fighting.
Yeah, and they raised the stakes this last season.
Hmm.
Uh, I think that was one of the most integral parts of the show. And then that's why we wanted to bring the intensity up because, there are so many gifts of martial arts as well within that. But there was a whole message with that. You can't go too far. They were going way too far in the last fight, and things got carried away, and the kid got hurt because of it. But they were able to bounce back and still finish off the fights and everything. But yeah, beautiful story though. But yeah, it was tough. It was tough. I remember reading the script and seeing when Quan died. I was shocked. Couldn't believe it.
It's unbelievable. It still is like when you watch it, it's just like wow, because you're not expecting that. So that goes to show that yeah, they definitely wanted to ramp things up in this season, and they did that.
Absolutely. Yes, it did. Yes, they did.
Crazy. So what made you want to get into kickboxing early on? Because you were someone that you come from a baseball background, but people thought you were going to really chase after football. So where did the whole kickboxing thing come in and karate and taekwondo?
Yeah. So whenever I was about 12, 13, I had just finished a show called Cousins for Life. I just finished that on
Nickelodeon.
On Nickelodeon. And my co-star on that, Scarlett Spencer, was actually going to a kickboxing class. And me and my other co-star, Micah, we were good friends with her. So we said, yeah, let's get into it. Not really foreshadowing the future that I was going to be in a show that I had, that was primarily about martial arts, but I really enjoyed it. I was working on boxing, kickboxing, parkour, any type of style with karate, martial arts. I was doing it, and I loved every second of it. So being able to kind of utilize that muscle memory in, all the techniques that Kenny had, it kind of just worked perfectly for me because I was just 2 years apart.
No, and you were perfect for the part and the role too, because we'll get into the whole history here now that we're kind of getting into the early beginnings. But football, where did that love come from? Because, like I mentioned before, you had the whole baseball background with your
Yeah.
father, Eric Young, of course. So where did football come in, and who did you kind of model your game after? You're going to be quarterback. That's quarterback was the main thing, right?
I was the quarterback. So football was one of those sports that I played just to keep my athleticism up with when baseball season was not happening. And I fell in love with the game. I was the quarterback and I was fast. So I just wanted to be like a Michael Vick type of guy. I wanted to run. I wanted to give 4 or 5 touchdowns, me running. That was my biggest thing. Because back then I didn't have the biggest arm, but they knew I was going to run. So I started off as a wide receiver, then I went to running back, and then I found my way to quarterback. And I just love the position. I love playing that role and trying to be the captain and rile the troops together. So I love the game and I played that for so many years. So when one season wasn't happening, I was playing football. When football season wasn't happening, I'm playing basketball. Basketball's not baseball. So it was kind of just me utilizing my athleticism in so many different sports because you can kind of implement that into every single one of the other sports if you really think about it. So that's I was just trying to stay active and I loved all three of those sports. But football, I love football. Love football.
Big Giants fan. What are your thoughts on the draft this year and just the future of the team?
I feel good about the team.
Mhm.
I know people mess with me every year because I'm always saying we're going to be Super Bowl champs. I always mess with my friends and say that always. But we might not be Super Bowl champs this year, but I feel like within the next 5 years we're gonna get it because I really like the pick of Abdul Carter. And I didn't know too much about Jackson Dart before looking at some of his highlight reels and his tape after the draft. And yeah, he's got an arm. So I feel like after learning from Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston for a year or two, he's gonna go there and he's gonna step in and be our guy for the next few years.
Do you regret them not taking Sanders? 'Cause I feel as though they should have took Sanders.
I thought they should have taken Sanders too, but apparently he messed up the what is it the draft call
Oh yeah,
with
you FaceTime in and stuff.
yeah, apparently he bombed the draft meeting. So if he bombed the draft meeting, I mean you can't expect him to pick him. But in that moment, I had no idea that he didn't do well in the meeting. So I was watching the draft like, okay, the Giants have another pick. Nobody taking Sanders. We're gonna get him right now. And we passed up on it. I look at my dad. I was like, whoa, I was not expecting that. But hey, it's going to be interesting to see how both of their careers play out.
Right now, it's looking like well, I've seen some highlights of Dart throwing some stuff at camp, but right now Sanders is shining in Cleveland. He's been having a lot of highlights. So I don't know if there's gonna be a lot of managers eating crow, but it could be looking that way.
That's what I'm saying. But also he has something to prove now. He has a chip
Mhm.
on his shoulder. None of them expected him to go to the fifth round and drop so low. Not the real deal. Because I loved his play back in Colorado. And then obviously Travis Hunter is with the Jaguars, well deserved, number 2 pick. He deserved it. So I can't wait to see how these rookies end up shining because
Mhm.
they are talented this year.
They definitely are. And you have a close bond with your father too, just playing baseball and having a love of the game. Were there any, because I know Michael Jordan always implements the Jordan rules. So was there ever the Eric Young rules when it came to playing baseball and coming up under him?
Oh, the Eric Young rule. That's a good question. I think with my dad, it was always a mentality thing. Never get discouraged. Never say you're in a slump. That was a big thing with him. Never say you're in a slump. Because if you keep that idea of you being in a slump, you're not going to get out of it. No, it's just you got a few things to work on because baseball is it's a difficult sport. You're going to
Mhm.
struggle for a little bit, but once if you make adjustments to your swing and to your techniques, you're going to find it and you're going to be starting to hit the ball lot better. So I think that was his number one rule. And I think the biggest thing for my dad too, if you don't have fun, don't play it anymore. If you're not having fun doing it, because he never forced me to play baseball. I just had a love for the game because I mean, I grew up hanging out in the clubhouse with my dad while he was with the Diamondbacks and the Rockies and the Braves and the Angels now. I've always been under his wing, watching film with him, doing workouts with the guys, being in the cages, everything. So I got the whole experience with that. So I just automatically fell in love with the game. So, he just said though, if you fall out of it or you don't want to play, don't play it because it's not fun to play it if you're not doing it.
It's true. Because then it'll affect the team and you're never going to be into it mentally and it's going to show. So when you
Yep.
look at baseball, because you're a Brave fan, and especially Angels because your father's there. So how did Jose Reyes become one of your favorite players? Because everyone knows him with the Mets.
Yeah, that's it's always a shocker for a lot of people when I say I've always been a speed guy. So his speed, whenever he was with, yeah, the Mets. It was when he was with
Mhm.
the Mets. I loved his speed and the way he just commanded the audience and how because I remember how I was at the Diamondbacks versus the Mets game. This might have been 2013, 2014. And when Jose Reyes came, everybody started to ignite. The people started to get up. They wanted to like watch him hit. And then he hit a home run off of somebody. And, being a kid, I was 7 years old. Like, yeah, I like him. He's good. And then he stole a base that day. Then he stole another base the next day. I was like, I want to model my game after him. And I got the blessing to meet him about 5 years, 4 years later, because he was actually on the Rockies for a little bit while my dad was coaching the team. And I got to introduce myself and tell him how, I've been watching his game since he was on the Mets. So growing
Wow.
up, Jose Reyes, always my favorite player.
Oh, I like that. That's different. No one ever brings him up, and that's definitely an underrated player in the league. And it's such a shame too with the Angels and your father being there because Ohtani leaving for the Dodgers. Oh man, that's so rough for that franchise. I think with the Angels need, I mean, you still got Trout. I want to see them change up the uniform. I like their old uniforms, like when they had the wing, or even the
Yeah.
old ones with just the halo on there instead of what the red that they have now. I think a nice uniform change. I think that could be something.
That might help them out big time. Something's got to change, and there's
Yeah.
always, room for improvement and some maybe the uniforms is what ignites them to, have a spark under them.
Yeah, that would be nice. And to your brother's, he's still with the Mariners. He's still coaching over there too.
Yeah, so my brother's the first base coach with the Mariners right now.
Wow.
And he's
Yeah.
really enjoying it. So and they're in the same division, which is not the first time that's happened because while my dad was with the Braves, my brother was with the Nationals.
Yeah, that's wild. Always a rivalry within the family.
Always. I love seeing the games together though. It's always fun.
Yeah, it definitely is. But the Braves, I think they're coming back a little bit now. They started off a little rough, but they're catching up.
They are. They are. It took them a little bit, but they're bringing it back now. I think they're one game over 500 or one game under 500 is right there. Because they had a struggle to start the season, but I think now all the boys they're healthy, they're playing well, they're playing together. I think they're going to have a good season too.
I think so. They'll catch up for sure. We might as well close out the sports talk because you also play basketball. So a big Hawks fan. I see Trey Young because I'm a Knicks fan. He's throwing shots at the Knicks already. You saw
I
that?
saw. I did see that. Congrats on your Knicks. They're doing
Oh,
well.
thank
I
you.
think they're going to be in the finals.
I hope so. I don't like the Pacers. Every time the Knicks play them, they lose in the playoffs. So I'm not gonna get too overexcited. I'm not one of these arrogant Knicks fans that are like jumping off of signs in New York and you're seeing all of them go crazy in there because you got to take it one step at a time.
You really do. You do because
Yeah,
the Pacers are such a sneaky team that nobody talks about throughout the regular season. But as
true.
soon as it comes to the playoffs, it's a different team. They play together, they're united, they love each other. You can tell they got chemistry on the court. And then Halliburton, he's a dog. He's just a dog.
The Knicks
So
should have
it's
drafted
gonna
him.
be
I forget what draft that was. I don't know. They picked someone that probably wasn't good. That's probably off the team now. But they should have gotten Halliburton because I think they had the chance to get him that year.
they should have. And then he went to the Kings, and the Kings lost him too. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be a fun playoffs. None of the real superstars that we are so accustomed to seeing are in the playoffs, and it's going to be real because I have no idea. It's so up in the air this year.
It is, yeah. OKC scares me a little bit because Knicks had trouble with them in the regular season. So if the Knicks were to go to the finals and face them, it's a little worrisome. But it's going to be interesting to see how the things end up there.
Yes, I was telling my friend earlier this morning. I said I believe it's going to be Wolves, Knicks, but I think Wolves in six is what
Mm.
I think. That's what
Yeah,
I
I
said.
mean, we're going to see who really won that trade between Carl Anthony Towns and Randall and DiVincenzo. We're going to see.
We will see. That's exactly what I want to see. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. That could be the story of the year for sure. But now we got to get into your craft with acting because you started out really young. You had an interest in this, and especially too because what was it that it came up? How did it become down between a trampoline and then you pursuing an acting career? What did this trampoline have to do with being a big
Okay.
factor in this acting path?
Okay. Yeah, you're taking me back. That I love telling that story. So I had nothing to do with acting before. I had never done a school play. I had never had any interest in acting. But a lady named Diana Horner,
Hmm.
part of the Performers Academy, to me and found my contact and wanted me to come out to this little Houston showcase to do. And I did it, and they said I might have what it takes to make it out in Hollywood, but I have to do some training for a few months and then get in front of a bunch of managers, producers, agents to perform in front of them and see who wants to sign you. And I was very interested about it because I'm a kid. I said I'm open to doing anything. Just like I was able to play baseball, football, basketball, I'm open to try something new. Little did I know it was going to change my life, but I was very interested in that moment. So we're looking at this and we're about to put the prices down. And I remember I had wanted a trampoline so bad. I wanted a trampoline so bad. It's funny how it happened. I hit a home run at Wrigley Field. This was a whole deal with my dad. I hit a home run at Wrigley Field from second base when I was 9 years old. And because I did that, he was like, "You're gonna get the trampoline." But the thing is, if we're moving to Los Angeles, I'm not going to be able to get the trampoline anymore because we're going to put the trampoline at the house in Houston. So my mom and dad said, "Well, look, son, it's the trampoline, or you want to give it a try out in LA and see what could happen." And I thought about it for a minute too, because I'm a kid. I was excited. I didn't know what to really go with because I had wanted that trampoline for years. And ultimately, I said, you know what? I want to give it a chance in LA. And I want to see if I have what it takes. Because even if it doesn't work, I'm gonna be able to tell all of my friends that, I tried. I had the opportunity to go out to Los Angeles and try to book some roles and become an actor. So I did that and I started to book some roles. And after the first year, I ended up being on the Nickelodeon show Cousins for Life. And that was it.
Leading
We
role.
moved out to Los Angeles and my life was changed completely.
Man, how was that? Because you had to go through that whole monologue process to where you got scouted by all these agents and managers and things like that. And that's how you ended up with Tina. Shout out to Tina, of course. So, how was that process?
That process was the most difficult thing I've ever had to do as a kid. From somebody who had zero experience with the acting industry, never read a monologue that long, and let alone had to memorize it, was tough. But my mentality has always been I wanted to be the greatest at anything I did. So from the moment that I picked it up, I spent hours every day trying to learn a different piece of it. If I'm at school, I'm still learning it. And I was in third grade at the time. People asked me like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I just wanted to kind of focus so hard, heavy on that. So then once I got to LA, I was completely prepared. It was challenging. It took a lot of time, a lot of perseverance. I was sad sometimes because I was like, I can't get it. I was frustrated. But you know what? At the end of the day, I was able to get it, able to understand it, and able to get the feelings with it too. And that's how I was able to be successful at that event.
Congratulations. Yeah, right on the Nickelodeon, getting the big show, leading role right away. That was big. And you did something with Double Dare too, right? You were doing something. Yeah.
I did at the Super Bowl, at the
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl.
And
And
you met
being a giant,
Odell. Was Odell there? He was a giant at that time, wasn't he?
he was a giant at the time, and I've been a Giants fan since I was 5 years old. And he got to be on my team, and I lost it because everybody knew I was a Giants fan, and they said, "Dallas, we have a surprise for you." I said, "What?" Well, first they gave me this Giants gear, so a sweatshirt, a Giants bag, which I still have today. And they said, and I was like, "Oh, thank you so much." But we got one more surprise for you. I said, "What?" Your teammate's gonna be Odell Beckham Jr. And I was like, I was screaming. I was screaming. I was running around just yelling. I think everybody in the building heard me at that point. And I got the chance to meet him, and he was the dopest guy ever, really down to earth. And we just had a good time. So I got to meet Russell Wilson, Christian McCaffrey, Cam Jordan, who else? DeAndre Hopkins, and then OBJ. That was the squad.
Superstars.
Yes. And then
Superstars.
my co-star ended up beating me and my team, unfortunately. But
uh,
great experience. Great
no,
experience.
absolutely. That's a story that you'll tell forever, and it's memories that you'll cherish, especially getting the Giants merchandise and being
Yeah.
there with one of the all-time great Giants. Even though he was traded to Cleveland, we're always going to remember that catch that he had against Dallas. That's a one-handed catch is
Never,
crazy.
never gonna forgive it. That was my screensaver on my phone, my iPad, my laptop, anything whenever I was young.
Wild. Yeah, that's the highlight. That's like the Jumpman logo pretty much for
It
football.
really is. It really is. Yeah.
Oh,
Definitely
crazy. But you're going out there, you're getting these auditions. So, and then you got to move from Houston all the way to LA, and you had like a time frame too, where it was 3 months, and
yeah.
then you end up not leaving. You're there till this day.
Yeah, yeah. That's the exciting part about life sometimes. You never know what kind of obstacles get thrown at you, but you got to deal with the punches and you got to keep moving. So my family made sacrifices for me. So thankful for them. I wouldn't be here without my family. And
Mhm.
they brought me to this point. But they said, because a lot of people were telling them, this is probably not the best idea. How is he gonna make it? He should be in sports. But my mom and my dad, they believed in me from the beginning, and they moved their entire lives to LA. And yeah, really thankful for them because they left their families and I left my family out in Houston. And I'm so grateful for the fact that I booked, a nice amount of roles. And then Cobra Kai happened, and yeah, I've been here.
Mhm. How about Shameless? How was your time on there? Because I wanted to bring that up. That was another big moment for you.
Shameless was really cool. Shameless was really cool. I love the scene because the funny thing about it is I remember they put like a plastic earring on me and I had a certain like tone, certain walk, and then they had the slow motion of me walking on. It was awesome. And I got to work with the incredible Regina King for that episode. And she's different. She's different. The way she presents herself, the way that she's so locked in with the character. She understands the storylines, the camera movements, and she understands how to connect with you. And I was just a kid at that time. So the moment that I met her was the callback for Shameless. I didn't expect to see her, but she was there. And I remember I was so nervous. But she just has a presence about her that calms your nerves quickly. So very grateful for her. And hopefully we'll work on something else later in the future.
I'm sure you will. So, what was that moment for you? Because in me doing my research about you, there was something I read to where you said that no one really thought you were going to be a successful actor. So, what was that prove it role for you? Was it Kenny, or what was that prove it role? Because I feel as though you Cousins for Life, you've had a lot of roles.
Yeah, the prove it role for me, in my opinion, was actually the Fosters.
I was going to bring that up.
Because, yeah, because of the fact that I was on the Nickelodeon show, but I hit a complete 180 doing drama with the Fosters that people weren't really expecting from me too much because I wanted to show my versatility as an actor the best I could. And having the opportunity to do that kind of showcased a different side of me. And I realized to myself, wait a minute, I can do comedy and drama if I just tap into different emotions of mine. Because, as humans, we have a bunch of emotions, just how you tap into it as an actor and how you can connect with a piece. And people, even I got calls and everything too. Like Dallas just want to say, like, we're proud of you, man. Like you shocked everybody. So that was kind of the role that showed me, okay, I can make it out here. If I just really keep working hard, keep grinding, and never stay complacent. You got to keep, elevating at the end of the day. So
Mhm.
that's what it was. And then Cobra Kai, once that happened, I didn't even know how big Cobra Kai was gonna be for me, but it really was.
Oh, it's huge and it's got a huge following and it's really done wonders and everyone's going to remember Kenny and just do you remember how all that kind of really went down because wasn't this during the COVID year once you started to get involved here with the auditions and the callbacks?
Yes, it was a very interesting story with how I got Cobra Kai. So I was already attached to another project while I had Cobra Kai, but I still got the audition for it. And I remember looking at the script and I saw the breakdown and it said Cobra Kai, but I did not piece everything together that it was the Cobra Kai. I had no idea for some reason. I saw the names Ralph Macchio, saw the names William Zabka, but nothing clicked in my brain. It was just another audition for me. So I did the audition. I love the character, love the scenes that we did. I did like four different scenes. Maybe 3 weeks later, I get a call back talking about they want to cast me. And usually, you have to go through the different processes, but they said they want to cast me right there. They just see Kenny in me. And the problem with that, though, I was already connected to the other project, and we didn't know if that project was going to allow me to do it. So I was filming that project. I was on my first day of set for that project. It came down to the last 30 minutes for the other network to decide if I was going to be able to go to Netflix. 30 minutes. So I'm in the schoolroom freaking out. I told my studio teacher I can't do any work. I was like, I'm not. I'm so locked in. I can't. I just hope I get that call. And the last 5 minutes came down to it. And they called and they said they allowed you to do the role. Crazy enough, the other pilot did not get picked up. And then I moved to Cobra Kai full time.
A blessing in disguise right there.
Blessing in disguise. And I had no idea.
Oh, you know what else is interesting, and I didn't even know this until reading up on you, was that you were called out for audition for Black Panther, and something that you took away from that was just getting the call for that. That was something that really stood out because a lot of times people have an axe to grind with not getting the part, but you were able to take it away, and you would love to work with the director still of Black Panther. That's something that a goal of yours.
Yeah, there was no better feeling than that call.
Hmm.
I think biggest piece of advice to so many actors, they get so discouraged whenever they don't book the role. But they need to think about the positives of even getting a call, getting feedback, getting some kind of, idea of how you did and how you can progress as an actor. Even though I didn't book that role, the opportunity for them to fly me out to Atlanta, get to talk to even other people in the industry right there, go to the studio, really live in that world as just an 11-year-old kid, and then have the chance to meet Ryan Coogler and talk to him not just about the characters, but talk to him about life as an actor and what I want to do afterwards. It was an incredible moment, something that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. Just being able to fly out there to Atlanta and have that moment with him. I hope I get the opportunity to work with him on another project. But yeah, there's nothing more special than getting that call like that.
I love that, and especially that you took that away with humility and you look at it from a different lens. Because, like you said, a lot of actors they don't watch what they're not casted in. Especially if they don't get the role, it's on the ban list.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be on the ban list. I don't think I've ever been like that. You congratulate other people for getting it because your winnings will happen. It
Hmm.
just might not be your time right at that moment. The right was not right for you, but it was right for them. Go watch it, go see how it is. Because especially if it's a good movie, then you're missing out on a good movie. And you could have spent your time learning more as an actor. Instead, you were pouting. So I think, yeah, there's a beauty in that to go see that. And yeah, congratulate other people because they deserved it at the end of the day.
It's true. Yeah, they got the role for a reason. And speaking of other roles and other legends that you've gotten to speak to, how about Jaleel White? What was something that you were able to pick his brain about on set there because you watched Family Matters as a kid. So being Urkel saves Santa, saves Christmas. How was it on this film and what you kind of took away from meeting him and speaking with him?
Yeah, so I first met Jaleel. When was it? Whenever we worked on the Big Show.
Hmm.
And I already knew who he was. And I got the chance to meet him. And I was so elated. But he's just such an incredible human to work with. And he's so intellectual, but he has a kind of energy about him that makes everybody, want to stand up and be hyped. It's never a dull moment with him, and it's been so many years since I've seen him. But then to have the opportunity to work on Urkel Saves, Christmas and everything, it kind of just was a full circle moment for me. And we had so many conversations on the Big Show and just talking about how I can keep getting better, the acting class I need to take, what I need to do to become more versatile, who I need to listen to, really observing how human interactions are and then implementing that into your studies. I learned a lot from Jalil. And then yeah, just the relationship that we have, I feel like I can call him anytime. I mean, he's just a really dope guy. And I get excited. Even I remember I posted something on about Clemson, me going to Clemson University, and he commented like, "Oh, star in the making" or something like that. And that feels good. That feels good to see that. Because I looked up to him growing up. So he's awesome. Love you,
That's
Lil.
huge. And congratulations on Clemson. I did see the announcement as well. So what kind of boiled down the decision for you to choose Clemson?
Yeah, Clemson. So, I mean, growing up, whenever you watch football, it was always Clemson versus Alabama. So I'd
Mhm.
always known about Clemson. But whenever I got the opportunity to fly out there and observe the whole campus, observe the family-oriented atmosphere, I realized that it feels like a second home. And that's what I really wanted. I wanted a community. And I already know the sport life is going to be incredible. Fan spirits out of this world at Clemson. Really good studies. So they kind of have all the resources that I wanted. And just because of that, I decided to go to Clemson. But that doesn't get don't get it twisted though. I'm always willing to work. I'm always willing to book a job. So if I book a job, I gotta go and take a break from Clemson and get to the job though.
So what are you going to be looking to pursue here at Clemson? Are you going to go further into theater and acting? Is that going to be something that you're going to be looking into at Clemson, or is it there's something else that you're going to be pursuing as well?
I'm going to be doing a few different things. So I'm going to be taking classes on theater, but my major is going to be business marketing. So I'm probably going to minor in something involving theater or film studies. So I want to be as versatile in life as possible. So I want to be an entrepreneur, a mogul, or somebody who, it kind of dips his feet into every different genre of life. So I'm really passionate about business marketing, but I mean, I've loved acting. So I'm going to be kind of understanding both of those worlds at the exact same time while studying in Clemson.
Mm. So how has it been balancing school and just being on these big shows since you were a kid? Because you were homeschooled originally, and then you went to school like in the regular world per se. So how was it balancing once you got to school being involved in these big shows?
It was difficult at first. It was tough. Trying to balance, 10-hour day while figuring out time to do a little schoolwork in between there. It was tough, but once I got the hang of it, it started to become a little bit easier. Now, when it started to pick up and get more challenging again, was whenever I went to regular school. Because during homeschool, you have a set schedule, you know exactly the work you're going to do, and you're going to be on set. Easy. But whenever you're at a regular school, first you got to think about the mental aspect of leaving all of your friends that you have, grown close with. Then while you leave them, you're thinking about you have to connect with all your teachers almost every day. So they understand. And so we both have a mutual understanding of the curriculum that I need to be following. And I also have to communicate with them like, hey, I got a long day today. I'm not going to be able to get any work done. Can I have this assignment extended? But they were really understanding and supportive of me the whole time. Without my studio teacher, Miss Michelle, and all of my teachers at my school, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did and succeed my junior year because it was really challenging, but I was able to get through it.
Mm. No, that's good. And how was it as far as making friends? Because I know there's stories of child actors that you would think, oh, they're the popular kid, but a lot of times there's envy that comes with it because they're not in that position. So did you face envy? Was it easy for you to make friends?
It was pretty easy for me to make friends
Hmm.
because I had already joined the baseball team during my summer, and I knew a few people, and that's the crew that I stuck with at first.
Okay.
Now, until I started to branch out and kind of understand everybody and get closer with so many different people. But it was difficult because you didn't know who was really there for you or who was there for Kenny. Because a lot of people were, surprised about the fact that Cobra Kai was at their school. But after the first 3 weeks, nobody really ever talked about it again. And that was during my sophomore year. And then anytime one of the shows came out, a release happened, they would just walk by me and be like, "Hey, congrats on the season." It wouldn't be anything else. And come my senior year, we had three different drops, and people would just talk to me about, at this point, they just know me as Dallas. They've seen me for the past 3 years. They know who I am. I have my friends and everything, and people I'm close with, and it was a really good experience. And now I'm finishing up school next week, which is crazy. And yeah, I'm gonna be done and graduating.
Finals, or you're taking your finals then.
Finals is this week. Hopefully I'm exempt from two or three of them, which would be a blessing, but we'll see very soon.
Well, let's hope. You got to get back to getting ready for college now. So now that you're getting ready for college, how are you going to be? And this goes back to balance. And now you're juggling college and with the roles, because I know you're going to be a little particular with the roles that you go towards now, especially learn about what your agents want, because you want to do more serious roles. So kind of get into that, because I believe that you're real versatile just from me watching you on the screen. And I know there's stigma. People say, oh, well, it's hard for child actors to get those serious roles. And I don't agree with that, because you see a lot of people go, that's how they start. And then they move right into those roles. So kind of talk to me about the approach now that you're in college and now that you're going to be pursuing different roles now that especially Cobra Kai's over.
Yeah, I don't think anything's gonna change too much about the roles that I go out for because I
Hmm.
think my agents really understand what the type of roles I like versus the ones I don't like, and they know what kind of trajectory I want to have with my career for the rest of the time. I'm with them and everything. So I think the biggest thing is just going to be about continuing to better myself as an actor while balancing my work and my studies at Clemson. But the good thing with me is I've been balancing different things all my life since I was a young kid, balancing school and in athletics, then balancing acting and athletics and school. So now I just got to do the exact same thing, just on a different level. And it might be challenging. Yeah, it might get overwhelming, but I'm used to that. I'm accustomed to that. So
Hmm.
you deal with the punch, go with it. And I'm just gonna be trying, and hopefully I get that opportunity to work on more serious roles because that's where I want to go with my career. And once I do one, hopefully it keeps going and it becomes a domino effect, and more people get to see the type of work that I do.
Yeah, it's versatile, as I said before. So what do you kind of consider your recess period? Because you're always working, but you're doing what you love. So what's your recess? Is it the Twitch? Is it the gaming? Is that what you consider free time and breaking?
My free time is Twitch.
Hmm.
That's my free time. It's been a little bit since I've streamed, and I've actually started to do IRL streaming not too long ago. But it's nice to get away and hop on the video games for a little bit. It's nice to just take a break from everything because you need breaks. You need breaks because
Do.
you never want to get burnt out with something. Even if you love it, if you get burnt out, you start to lose that passion for it. So being able to hop on live stream and connect with all of my fans from around the world, it's just a chance for me to get away for a little bit. And it's just 2 to 3 hours talking to them. And it's a gift. It's a blessing to be able to do that. Hop on the game with my friends, react to different videos. So yeah, I love going on Twitch.
You also bring a lot of people onto your stream too. You bring some actors on there, co-star. That's crazy. I like watching those online. I saw a
I
couple of those clips.
appreciate
Yeah.
that's the best thing about it. You utilize the resources you got, and people are so like willing to do it. I think that's the best thing about it. Whenever I hit them up about it, they're like, absolutely, we would love to. So grateful to have a few of the people that have had so far, and I just want to keep growing with that, keep bringing different celebrities on and different co-stars of mine, and hopefully we can keep growing the Twitch the Twitch for sure.
It's fire. Yeah, I want to see you be one of the top Twitch guys. I think it's definitely possible, and it's because you see the personality and you got the fan base already. I think, how about a Chris Brown appearance? I know he's going through some things right now, but you're a big Chris Brown fan. So, what's your favorite Chris Brown album?
Oh, see, I'm trying to think the album name. I really liked his latest one not too long ago. Is it called Angel Numbers 10 Toes? Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
that's the one.
Yes, that was one of my favorite albums. But growing up, my favorite song for I could say 3, 4 years was Turn Up the Music. I woke up to that. That was my ringtone. Love Turn Up the
Off of
Music.
Fortune.
Yep, yes. And after that, I love Chris Brown. Dope music.
He is, yeah, for sure. And I'm hoping that things clear up. I know got in trouble in the UK or something I was reading about. It's just, ay, ay, ay.
I was on Instagram and I looked at a hot freestyle, and next thing you know, it said Chris Brown was in jail, and I was like, "What
What's,
happened?" So hopefully, he figures that whole situation out.
yeah, that's wild. So, who are some of your other favorite artists besides Chris Brown?
Yeah, I listened to Frank Ocean. I listened to Don Toliver. I'm kind of all over the place.
Hmm.
Gunna. Who else? Usher. I like R&B. I like rap. Lil Baby. It goes all around the world. I mean, I really love The Weeknd too. His latest album, Hurry Up Tomorrow, was outstanding. I don't think I had one skip on that album. So yeah, I love R&B. I love rap. Everything.
Or were you in on the whole Drake Kendrick thing? Were you following that when that was going on?
So funny thing about that, that was exactly why we were filming Cobra Kai. So I listened to Euphoria on the second attack floor with Sholo and Griffin. And we listened to Euphoria right there. I remember this is Griffin and I love telling this story. So I had just hung out with Una and Griffin. We
Hmm.
had just dropped Una off and I was dropping Griffin off. We had listened to, I believe, Family Matters. That's what it was, if I'm not mistaken. We had
Hmm.
listened to Family Matters. I dropped him off. 2 minutes after I dropped him off, Meet the Grams comes on. And we're texting each other like, yo, Kendrick drop. It was like 30 minutes. And I remember I was just shocked. I was in shock. And I'm walking back to my apartment and I called him instantly, like, bro, did you hear the song? He said, yeah, that was unbelievable. And then everybody was talking about the next day on set. That was so cool that the beef was during the time we were filming Cobra Kai.
That's wild. Yeah, that's stories that you're never gonna hear, which is crazy. It's things that you're gonna now when you listen to those songs, you're gonna remember that you were on set during that time. It's crazy how
Yeah,
music
I
carries
always
those
remember.
memories.
It does. Anytime I think about the beef, I think about Cobra Kai.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll tell you, Kendrick hit Drake with the silver bullet.
He definitely did. He definitely did because that was, I think Kendrick won that beef, but that's up in the air. Everybody has their own opinion, but
I
it was it
agree.
was it was a
I agree.
good battle.
He definitely did. So, is there kind of an album that you're looking forward to, or someone that you want to see release new music soon?
Somebody that I want to see release new music too
I'd
soon.
love to see a new
I,
Frank Ocean album. It's been a long time since Blonde.
it has been a minute.
Mhm.
It has been a minute. I want to hear a new Frank Ocean album. I want to hear a new. I mean, Kendrick just drops, not Kendrick. I'm trying to think. I just had a name in mind. I want to hear Travis. I love Travis.
Travis Scott.
Travis is one of my favorites. Travis Scott. He's one of my favorite artists. I cannot wait for Jack Boys 2. I know he's been promoting it a lot. I cannot wait for them. So him, I can't wait for Don Toliver to drop. So it's a few albums that I'm ready for. And I want Gunna to release new music too soon.
Gonna, yeah. That would be interesting. I know people are kind of like on him because of the whole, I don't know, people think he snitched and
Bias
all
up.
that and the whole snitching thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But bottom line, regardless of who he is as a person, his music's good. I don't
Yeah.
know anything about who he is as a person. I rock with his music, and that's
Yeah.
what I say about it. So, yeah, it's very smooth.
So how about as far as other things? Are you kind of in the sneak? I know you're a big video game guy, Watch Dogs, GTA, you love the MLB. You were Xbox 360 guy. That was interesting in reading about that. And then you switched to PlayStation. So are you kind of into sneakers? Are you a sneaker guy?
I've actually just started to get into sneakers not too long ago.
Mm.
I think it's funny because people used to always mess with me. I said sneakerhead, but whenever I was about 15 to 16, which is not long ago at all, I would only wear white AF ones. That's it.
I'm the
I
same
was
way.
that was it. Until I started to kind of become more versatile, Jordan 3, Jordan 1s, yellow, started to change it up a little bit with the colorways. Now I'm starting to get into them a little bit more.
It's fire. Okay, so if Jordan contacts you and says, Dallas, we want you to design your own Air Jordan, what retro would it be and what would kind of be the design behind it?
Ooh, gotta be the Jordan OG retros,
Mm.
the red and black. But I would have some kind of, instead of the Jordan logo on the back, I feel like I would have, oh, I don't know what I would have. That's some kind of design, some kind of something that implements my signature. So
Hmm.
you know that it's mine. Um, but something unique that nobody else has. But it has to have something including DY.
Yeah, that would be fire. I don't know because you got the baseball and the sport background yourself, and you got the Cobra Kai thing. So one of your moves off of Cobra Kai, maybe I don't know.
Hey, that could be might have to just be the silver bullet move
It might have
on
to
the
be.
right side of it. You know it's Kenny.
Oh yeah, no, I think that would work for you. So how was your first day on set on Cobra Kai and just meeting Ralph Macchio for the first time? How was that?
It was so nerve-wracking for me.
Hmm.
So nerve-wracking. So I met him the day before my first day of set. I met him because I was doing a training day with some of the
Hmm.
stunt choreographers, but then I was also doing a fitting. I met him at the same time as Sholo and Mary. They were all together having a conversation. I was talking to my mom. I said, "Mom, like that's Ralph, that's Sholo, that's all of them." And she was like, "Go up there and introduce yourself." I was like, "You're not gonna come with me?" She said, "No, this is you. This is you." And she stood back and she just watched me go up. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I went up, and the first things I said, I was like, "Oh, I don't want to. I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'm playing Kenny. My name is Dallas Dupree Young. Pleasure to meet you." And Ralph was like, "We've had so many conversations for 4 seasons. You can interrupt us at any time." It's the first thing he said to me. And I felt so comfortable and relaxed right after that moment. And they were so welcoming. They were really, really dope people. And it was such a fun and joyous ride from the beginning all the way to the end with them. So I remember meeting Ralph then and meeting Marty Cove. He looks so intimidating, but he's the nicest person you could ever meet. And then Thomas Ian Griffith is so tall, but he's really, really great and understands so much about the business. And I really got to have good conversation with him as well.
That's great. And one of the toughest scenes too was the field scene with the laxative. Oh man,
That scene,
that's a hard
that
scene.
it was a hard scene. I think the fact that you have to do that, doing that in front of all of your friends while keeping a straight face, toughest thing anybody's got to do right there. But I just got to have fun with it. I got to have fun. His character, he's got to crap himself. So you got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. And I tried to embody that the best I could.
Mhm. Was there anything because it was a deep character because people were mocking him when he was dancing. He went through. He really didn't have anyone to lean on. His brother came home from jail, so you were able to click with him then. But was there anything that you were kind of able to relate on a personal level that you were able to see in Kenny?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I learned from him, I mean, is persevering whenever you feel lost
Hmm.
sometimes. Uh, as a teenager, sometimes you trying to figure out your identity, especially going into adulthood. And Kenny lost that for a little bit. And I feel like that has happened to so many people growing up in that tough stage of being 16 to 17, trying to understand your friend group, trying to understand who's there for you and who's not. And that's where we really connected. You feel lost, you don't really know your place in a certain situation, but you persevere and you get back up at the end of the day. And you work harder to get exactly what you want, which is exactly the kind of trajectory that I had whenever I was 15, 16.
Always having that mindset just to persevere, and that's what's got you this far. And it was those 2 years that, and it was I was it Tina that was telling you that 2 years she wanted to get you with a series, and you ended up getting it.
She said, "Yep, those are the words." She said, I'm gonna book this kid within 2 years. He's gonna get a role." And I booked it within the first year and a half.
Wow.
Yep. He called it. She did call it. And yeah,
That's
we moved.
perseverance.
Perseverance. You're gonna get a lot of no's, but then that one yes might change your life.
And you've had a lot of yeses that have changed your life, I'll tell you. Yeah,
Absolutely.
big shows.
Big shows. Big shows.
Uh,
Definitely blessed.
so what did you kind of take away from Wesley Snipes' Blade performance? Because that was something with you doing with learning the role and just everything adding into the kickboxing and martial arts aspect of the role. So what did you kind of take away from his performance?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I took away from his performance was how relaxed he was whenever going through all of the motions of his fight sequences. Biggest conversations that I always had with Don Lee, our stunt coordinator, was I would always be uptight and intense, but I needed to just let it be. Act like you've been here before. You've done this so many times. Blade, the way he embodied that character, he was more so nonchalant, and he knew all of the moves and everything. There was a purpose, there was intention, but he was never stiff. So it's kind of understanding that difference between the two. And once I was able to implement that into Cobra Kai season 6 more so than any other season, I felt like martial arts became so natural for me,
Mhm.
and it became the easiest it's ever been. So being able to watch all three of those films and really understand the type of technique he had, I was able to just because I always had my shoulders up, I needed to just relax and be present in the moment and understand all the different techniques and why I'm doing this. So really appreciate Don Lee for recommending that movie because I think it really impacted the way my fight style was in season 6 tremendously.
What do you think is going to be when you look back now at the show? What was your favorite moment?
Ooh. Favorite moment will always be season 4, being on that big karate stage with Tanner Buchanan and having that fight scene with him. uh, Being able to work on that with him. I was a nervous wreck because I had never done the All Valley before. That was my first time. And then let alone I have to fight Tanner. And he's a big dude. And I was a 5'1" kid. And I was like, I should get beaten in this, which I ended up getting killed, basically. But it was so much fun to do that and learn from him and understand how he was able to connect with the character and just embody that role right in that moment and kind of switch because at the beginning of it he was like this is my friend, but then once he had that conversation with Kreese it was his enemy. So yeah, that had to have been my favorite moment of the show.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot. You did that role. That's one that everyone's going to remember from the series for sure. It's definitely a standout one.
I appreciate that. Yes
Yeah,
sir, definitely.
it's crazy, man. So uh, Denzel Washington, that's your guy. That's the one that you look up to. So what is it about his performance in John Q? I've heard that was the one you look towards.
John Q is one of the most special films that I've ever seen. And it's funny because my two favorite movies are from him. It's John Q and American Gangster. It was the way that he was able to connect with the character and just embody that feeling of it's literally his son's life or he's got to kill everybody else. That's so difficult to really tap into those emotions. And he was able to do that at such a prestige level and do it so efficiently and effectively. I mean, it kept you engaged from the moment that they started and they understood who the character of his kid was and understand like why he's doing everything he was doing because everything he was doing was for the kid. It was no reason for that. He was going to do anything he could to save his son's life and get him that donor. So he was able to feel those emotions while having the action-packed moments that were so necessary in the film too. So everything about his performance and it really makes sense with his saying of less is more because he does not do too much with his acting, but you feel the intention every single performance.
You do. Yeah, John Q, it's an underrated film. I know everyone goes for Training Day with Alonzo. I love that role, of course. You can't
Love it too.
Yeah, you can't go wrong
Love
with
it
that.
too.
But John Q is underrated because you know why? It's so relatable because with everything with the healthcare system and people have
Yeah,
financial struggles with that and just how crazy insurance companies are. It's a relatable role.
it really was. It really was. And that was a project that needed to get out and people needed to hear that story and the lengths that somebody will go for their family.
Mhm. And that's how they, well, I'm gonna say it. That's how people should go for their family.
Sometimes, hey, he did anything and everything he could to save his son. I respect it.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it has to be. So, how about with comedy? Is that something that you want to get into, maybe, especially having the experience of being around Kevin Hart in that commercial early on as a kid?
Yeah, comedy. I really love comedy. It's funny because I'm actually watching the show called The Studio that's on Apple TV right now, and with Seth Rogen, and that show is hilarious with the comedic timing and executed so perfectly. That's something that I want to do, and I really want to tap into as well. I want to do all different projects,
Hmm.
action-packed film, dramatic roles, and comedic films. I want to do all of them.
Yeah, that I can see you doing it. How about horror? Would you do horror? You've done sci-fi.
I would do horror. That's something that I really want to get into as well. Hopefully, that can be something I end up doing in the future as well. Because I mean, I love growing up seeing movies like Chucky and Pet Cemetery. I love those type of movies. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
doing a
So
horror
you've,
film. I wonder how it is on set of the horror film.
yeah. So you would want to do something like a Chucky and a slasher. Is that something that you would want to do?
A slasher type of movie, like Scream, one
Hmm.
of those type of vibes.
Yeah, I think Scream, they're coming out with seven next year, so
Oh, hey, that's real cool. Hopefully, when they come out with eight, it might
they
want to
could
hit you.
call you.
It might want to call me one time. That'd be cool.
That would
So
be fire. Yeah,
that's an outstanding franchise, really iconic. So
it
it's been
is.
around for so many years, and
The writing in it is because I know people knock horror. They're like, oh, it's cheesy, it's this, it's that. But the Scream is it's a top tier franchise. The writing in it and the acting, it's crazy.
it is. It really is. It really is. It's an outstanding franchise, and the way they're able to progress the storylines all the way from all these years since the first film came out, and really bring back the older characters into the newer films is it's outstanding.
Yeah, absolutely. It. So, man, I mean, what's something else that you have on the horizon here? Do you have something in the works that you can speak on?
I cannot speak on this one project
Oh,
right
yeah.
now, but I might have something in the works possibly coming out within the next few years. So honestly, just be on the lookout for that. And then we're just gonna be locked in on Twitch, locked in on my studies and getting my education at Clemson, and that's gonna be my life for now. And auditioning for more roles and try to book the next thing.
Yeah, you gotta get the scream roll. I like that. I think the scream with that.
That'd be cool. That'd be
Now,
really
would
cool.
you want to play Ghostface? Is that what you want, or would you rather be someone on the outside?
Somebody on the outside. I'm
Someone on the
trying
outside.
to get away from him, and hopefully I do not die. I want to
Y-
be like one of the last people to live.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
and there's
Uh,
openings now because Jenna Ortega is not coming back. Melissa Barrera is not coming back. So you need some new guys in there.
Yes, you do. So hopefully I could be that one maybe in the
Y-
future.
Yeah, let's manifest this, man. I'm
Let's
telling
manifest.
you.
I like it. I like it. So
Oh, but Dallas, is there anything else you would love to let your fans know? Anything else that we didn't speak about? I think we got to get into Ready Player One. That's the one we got to get into.
yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah, the sci-fi film.
Not thinking about Ready Player One. It was just a quick little moment on that movie, but got the opportunity to meet Steven Spielberg and have a quick conversation with him. And I was about 10, 11 years old. Another moment that I would never forget. And just being on the experience of one of his films was a dream come true for me. And then the movie ended up being so outstanding. But the only thing is, if you blink, you will miss me, unfortunately. But it's okay. It happens. It's like that. But still a blessing to be a part of that film.
If you could look back on, because it was an honor for you to meet Spielberg, say if you could travel back in time, we know the iconic films that he's made. What's one that you would have loved to have been a part of or even just witness making?
E.T.
E.T. That's a classic film.
Absolutely. I would lose it if I got to be on the experience of that film because that's one of the most iconic films in the world. Everybody will forever remember E.T. And yeah, just how they did the whole CGI back then. I just wonder.
It's wild. Yeah, CGI is completely different because they used more practical effects back then, and
Yeah,
now it's all computer generated. It's especially with
everything.
AI.
It's a completely new industry.
It is. And how are things too? Because I know the fires just happened. Did that affect you? Because I know it's affecting Hollywood with the Palisades fires. So how are you during just that whole time and everything out in LA right now?
Yeah, it was tough to see so many friends and family having to evacuate. I was able to stay in my home and nothing got affected with me. but it definitely affected Los Angeles as a whole. The industry, especially, a lot of auditions stopped because there was no production happening. A lot of different spots, and people were evacuating their spots as well. So it was challenging to kind of bounce back, but I feel like Hollywood is doing a better job now at getting more opportunities out there now. They're kind of going back to how they were. So we've dealt with the challenges a few times, COVID and the fires, but I'm hoping that everybody's doing a lot better with them now and well adjusted in their homes or new homes now. But it was a tough time for Los Angeles for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm praying that you guys get to recover as soon as possible too. I know it's going to be a while with that situation, but it definitely took a hit for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
100%.
But
100%.
Dallas, man, anything else you want to let the fans know? Anything else that we didn't cover tonight?
Just follow me on all my socials and stay locked in on everything that I have been posting. And because you never know, I might, have that next job and I post it. So be on the lookout for all of that. That's all.
Yeah, man. Congratulations on everything and especially getting into Clemson. That's a huge accomplishment and just all the roles that you have that you accomplished and I'm sure that you have on the way.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate your
You
time.
already
Thank you.
know, man. And thank you to Tina too. Thank you to Tina and Kim for helping getting this set up. And you're always welcome back on the show anytime.
Absolutely. Hey, the next role, next big role we got, come back on here.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I appreciate you. Dallas, enjoy the rest of your night and until the next time, all right?
You take care now. Have
All
a
right,
good one.
man. Salute.
Ciao now.
Peace out, man.